All right, what's up, you guys? I'm gonna talk about the ridiculous joke that people called fighting for justice. Those riots we had within the past year, all those people that had their businesses destroyed and cars destroyed. And I love it how these people actually called it, they defined it, quote, fighting for justice. Uh, Bunch of coward degenerates. A lot of them were alcoholic stoner degenerates. A good bunch of them. Okay, first you had the when the riot happened, just because one cop did a thing which nobody was saying it was right. He should have took the guy in, but huge mobs of people take things into their own hands and do what technically was an armed insurrection, which was worse than what they were accusing of that thing at the Capitol, which uh, I'm not saying was right either. That wasn't going to accomplish a damn thing either. But when you get whole crowds of people acting like degenerates, like smashing businesses, I love it when they called it, and everybody sensationalized it and called it, quote, fighting for justice. And the people that were real, supposedly real combatants or whatever, the rioters and the combatants that they were supposedly going up against, yeah, there were some cops, different people got injured, and so-called peaceful protesters that were complaining they had injuries from the cops, which that shouldn't have happened, but they should have had the fucking common sense to not even be anywhere near there. Some of them may have tried to be, but you know how that rioting goes. It spews a little closer to areas that some of them don't plan to be. But and then there was also the danger if you were had any kind of intentions of doing anything peaceful, something happens right you don't count on right where in your area, you can get the area where you're doing your peaceful protest, you can get blamed for it. Uh, and also a pandemic going on that you should have been out of crowds, which is the wiser thing. No matter who you are, you should stay the hell away, far away from that shit as possible. But anyway, these people that called fighting for justice, uh, when they call something fighting for justice, it always attracts people that are smashing businesses and wanting to get free stuff off of people. And it also comes with a bunch of people, the mentality of these people looking for excuse, because anybody that has like a decent car, a business, and has money or a car, when you want to say the difference between protesting, yelling with signs in a place. There's a difference between being in a corner and having a protest or whatever than blocking traffic and going smashing things. What the fuck gives anybody right to be blocking traffic? But the people that were doing all this damn shit, they hate anybody that has a nice house, a nice neighborhood. They hate that with fire, every fiber of their being. And I almost said fire of their being because yeah, they started fires, but yeah, a fire inside them too of hate that they accuse everybody of hate. But oh, and they call it. It always there's people right in the heat of it that there's so damn many of them doing what they're doing that the cops really couldn't contain it. Really, it takes an army, and it's actually creepy. Somebody can go into a gated community and bust a gate down and blame a wife and a husband and wife that hold out a gun when somebody busts in a community. And again, the difference between march, a protest march, and a march that's more like an intimidation ploy in places that had nothing to do with it. You can just in numbers intimidate anybody you choose under the guise of rioting, uh, and under the guy rioting under the guise of marching. They're marching for protest. Yeah, those people were seeing what they are: uh, violent, jealous, degenerate animals. That's all they were acting like. And oh yeah, and then the people that I was talking about the hottest part of a riot where they were burning everything down and endangering people's lives, and then it also attracted the more cowardly ones in the far fringes and the edges of your so-called riot that likes the fringes of it like to spread out a little bit, the out of the hottest zones, the people that want to get their alcoholic pillhead girlfriends, because they're trying to get laid, have them take a selfie of them smashing somebody's car that had nothing to do with. And what they're labeling is, quote, fighting for justice. It's in a um, having a stick or some kind of a pipe, waving in the air and smashing somebody you don't know's car. Um, Usually, preferably where nobody's gonna come and try to stop you. And then if somebody does say, "Hey, that's what are you doing in my car?" Oh, get a bunch of their degenerate juvenile acting buddies. What are you gonna do about it? And go beat them up. Beat up an old couple, or beat up that person who's trying to protect the car that he's hasn't done making payments of yet. Oh yeah, you're really fighting for justice, blocking traffic, kicking cars, busting up businesses and burning things down, and no, and then not really enough has been done about it. But and then reality sets in. Even like now, you don't hear completely about it, but you're hearing a lot about the all the cameras that are on telephone poles and places. You got cameras in places that you don't know where they are now, which, unlike some of the conspiracy theorists on the far left and the far right, uh, I say you need them. My philosophy is, hey, I told you this before. Do good things and better things looking right into the camera, and you got nothing to fear. You notice it's always the people with the most criminal intentions or nowadays are speaking against the cameras that are showing things. You know why? Because even though they sensationalized that insanity and things that costed millions of dollars, people their homes, their businesses, the reality is setting in for some people. It acts like nobody's going to do nothing now, but it's a lot of work. There's a lot of people where they're paid good money to go through all this footage, whether it's the feds or some of the police. And some of these people think they got away with it, right? And it appears to some people that are complaining now that they got away with it. And yeah, some people should be complaining that, yeah, a lot of them are getting away with it, but some of them not. It looks like they are, but when they go through that footage and that facial recognition that they have now, reality sets in these people. When I feel sorry for these people, excuse me, when reality is setting in, and maybe it could even take a year, but they identify somebody's face and footage of what they've been doing. They're so-called fighting for justice. They're on the fringes of a riot, getting their friends to take pictures, trying to impress their little degenerate pillhead girlfriends or whatever. The lower levels of society that hate the fact that they had to go into any rehab only because they're forced to. Not bashing anybody who really did rehabilitate, no offense to them, but there's a lot of people that have a strong resentment toward anybody that has a nice car or anything, that they've been on and off drugs or whatever the hell. And these other people that act nice to your face, but they really want to use any kind of a riot or anything to exercise their violent, hateful nature, which anybody that has a nicer car and house than you, they hate with every fiber of their existence. Oh, they're called as fighting for justice. They're not really fighting a combatant. Occasionally, yeah, you had a few cops that were injured, but the numbers were uh, few and far between. So there was a lot of this stuff, there was no real combat. They're going and most of the stuff they called fighting for justice was, oh, in front of some camera, in front of news media that sensationalize it. Yeah, they beat on a police car, beating on somebody's car that, like I said, they didn't even finish making payments on. And then the owner of the car wants to do anything about it, and they'll get beat up by their buddies or whatever. Yeah, that's fighting for justice, along with blocking traffic, smashing some windows of somebody's business. house or whatever. Uh, oh yeah, yeah, you call that like fighting for justice? Like what a fucking joke. I mean, the stuff really got to be exposed for what it is, because it is what it is. And yeah, enough of videos talking about Portland and Seattle and all those uh, spoiled brat kids that walking around in all black and black masks and backpacks on, smashing windows, and countless YouTube videos where they're trying to get scrubbed off the internet, but other people have them on their channels. Oh, old lady or an old couple ain't allowed to walk on this street. These so-called Antifa people, and they're bullying. Yeah, a group that calls itself Antifa, anti-fascist. What a fucking joke. Yeah, so anti-fascist that an elderly couple that's walking in their way on a sidewalk that they're not allowed to be across the street is automatically a fascist. Because yeah, pick on the easy targets, old people, or if you're in numbers. And some of these people, what are they going to do when you get a gang of people that like police ain't going to do nothing or can't do nothing or won't do anything because the mayors or whatever or uh, fucking shitheads get a bunch of people that the straw breaks the camel's back. Say these fucking lowlifes. I don't know any bit about you guys, but not that I'm telling anybody to do anything, but yeah, I wouldn't want to join some fucking group that does shit like that. For example, hey, you might pick the wrong person's grandmother or whatever, and they're going to have a gang of their buddies come after you. Bunch of fucking kids. Uh, you got to wonder if why that shit hasn't happened by now. You figure in some of these cities, you have a lot of real docile people that are begging the police to magically do something, which they're not even allowed to do, which really was when you're doing a lot of huge amount of vandalism, all right, that they won't do nothing. Then theoretically, a lot of these people didn't want to rise up and push back because they're too docile. They don't got no, what do you call it, skill set or no desire to train. They're not gang members. They're people that common that live their lives, but yet they're just, I guess, unable or unwilling to deal with low lives like this. Uh, but what if you get people that they're not really combative in nature? When I'm not telling anybody they should do anything, but it's a wonder they didn't by now. A straw that breaks the camel's back, like a whole block of people. Somebody comes on their block. Part of the reasons why gang violence is born, and nobody is allowed to defend themselves, and they're just fighting for justice, right? Yeah, nobody does it with just signs and some harmless march anymore. They all blocking traffic and vandalizing things, and the news media literally dragged their feet in calling it what it was, and even some of our local news media reluctantly a little bit because they're forced to. Like, well, one little token thing, the one dude that was showing off on camera beating up on a police car, probably not even in the hottest part of a riot, like say in Pittsburgh. In our Pittsburgh news, there was one news lady, pretty nice lady too. She was almost in tears when a whole bunch of business in Pittsburgh was uh, all destroyed. I'm not going to say her name, a particular channel, but one news lady, I think it was our Channel 4 news. I'm not saying any names, but she looked like she was almost in tears. Uh, well, you know how many of them people in the news media would lose their jobs if you say something, uh, say what something really is. You got uh, to have permission to say everything. I don't want to speak for them all, but well, they want to suppress the critical think of you and me as it is, and threaten us with this and that for um, critical thinking and scrutinizing the situation, and because it's like basically it is what it is, mass intimidation. It turned into mass intimidation. It all quieted down now, but yeah, what's going to happen later when one cop does something else wrong. Instead of going to the proper authorities, attorney generals, take it into their own hands and start smashing things. Yeah, what the fuck kind of garbage is that? Nothing but bullshit. Nothing but bullshit, degenerate garbage. No excuse. Nobody has a right to go in numbers and take things into their own hands, no matter what a cop does. Take it on into your own hands and then take it out on a whole community of businesses. Nothing but a bunch of degenerate lunacy.